Hi, my name is Lexi Jong and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do a get ready with me style video featuring some products that are new to me, and these are not necessarily my first time using these items, but they are things that I picked up recently in some of the hauls that I just haven't had a chance to review. So we'll put those on and then I will have a few sort of like mini review type things at the end of the video. Let's get started. Right now on my face, I do have the Surratt Perfectioniste Primer and the Hourglass Veil Eye Primer. And for foundation today, we are going to do a mix of the Cocondo Aqua, and I have shade 002. So I'm just going to put a little bit on my skin, and we're going to mix it with the Moisture Foundation, and I have shade 012. So I'm just putting this on the back of my hand, mixing the two together, and then we'll apply it like this. Using the Cocondo foundation brush. And I'm not sure what's up with this brush. I don't see it on their website, but it came in the pre-order set for the Moisture Foundation. So I don't know if they were like getting rid of stock and this is an older brush, or if it's a new brush that's going to be coming out, but I don't see it listed anywhere on their site right now. Just going to try and use up what's left on my hand here. All right, I like the finish of this. For eyes, I'm taking the Chantecaille Le Camouflage Stylo, or is it, yeah, Le Camouflage Stylo Anti-Fatigue Corrector Pen in shade 1. And here we go, it's starting to ooze out a little bit. And for powder today, we're going to take, this is the Chantecaille Loose Powder in Light. It's the talc-free loose powder. So it has, this is like, I don't know, aluminum possibly. It feels like aluminum to me. So it's an aluminum lid, and then you have the sifter. It does come with this pretty thick puff, but I prefer to use a brush. So just going to decant some into the lid. So just got a tiny bit. And this is the Giorgio Armani blush brush, but I use it for face powder. I'm just going in with a very light layer. All right, and I'm not gonna set the under eyes specifically, just a little dusting of this. And for eyes, we're going to use the Chrome Luxe Eye Duo from Chantecaille in Tibet. And I'm using the Chantecaille Shade and Sweep Eye Brush as well. So I'm going to start off in the lighter shade. So I'm just turning my brush so I'm getting a little bit in the crease here as well, but I'm keeping this really easy so I don't feel like, you know, doing any thicker crease work. Taking the same brush and going in the deeper shade. And I'm just going to tap over the center with anything that's kind of left on there. And then I'm just taking the Sonia G Blender Pro, and there's no shadow on here. I'm just gonna kind of clean up the crease area a little bit. And then I actually want to go in with the Natasha Denona. This is the Liquid Chromium Eyeshadow in Scarab. And I've been playing with this, really liking it so far, but I'm going to use this for eyeliner today. So I'm taking the Linda Hallberg 333. It's just an angled brush. And I'm just getting some on the tip. I'm wiping the excess off the side so I don't have too much. This stuff dries pretty quickly. Just gonna make this little corner wing a little bit brighter here. I'm gonna carry this down the lower lash line. All right, so I think that's good for liner. I think it's kind of interesting. We'll talk about this later. I'm gonna curl my lashes and then I'll move you back out so we can finish the rest of my face. All right, so these are the eyes from a distance. I added the Guerlain Matte Eyes Mascara in brown, but I used the Chanel mascara base first, and that did help a little bit with length. Nothing dramatic, but you know, I do really like that mascara for an everyday look. I also did my brows. I used the Gucci brow pencil in number 3, Chatin, and then I topped it with the Surratt brow pomade, which is a clear gel, and you just kind of brush that on. For blush today, I'm going to use the Chanel blush in 260 Alabaster, and this is one of the ones in the limited edition packaging. And I'm using the Shiseido KZ04 brush. And this is my first time using this blush, I think. Actually, no, I think I've used it once before. You can see that it definitely has a shimmer to it. I'm not going to apply any bronzer today. So just the blush. I thought this would be, you know, bronzy enough. I think we need a little bit more on this side. So this blush is pretty shimmery, and I'm not sure if you can actually see it on the cheeks, but there are gold flecks. See it in there. I'm going to swatch this one next to Rose Bronze. So this here is Rose Bronze. And when you put this on the cheeks, you get kind of like a little bit of a bronzy sheen to it, but there are no actual shimmer particles. You know, I don't think it really picks up as well in the swatch as it does on the cheeks. And then here is Alabaster. And you can see a little bit more of the shimmer here. Between the two of these, Alabaster is a little bit deeper. You can see that it's definitely darker. It's also a little bit peachier than Rose Bronze. Rose Bronze, you know, it's pretty aptly named. It's kind of like a mid-tone dusty rose with some bronze in it. And again, it does have that sheen on your face when you put this on. Alabaster, however, is going to be more of a peachy rose shade, and it's a little bit deeper. And then it has this gold shimmer, and you can see that it definitely has a sheen on the cheeks as well. That gold shimmer really picks up. So they are different. I think what Chanel did for the limited edition releases, at least for the United States, is they picked one that is more suitable for light skin tones, medium skin tones, and deeper skin tones. And then this would be the light and the medium, in my opinion. For our finishing powder today, I'm going to take the Gucci powder, and this is in shade 00. And I'm taking the Sonia G Phase 1 brush, and I'm first going to stamp it on and then just buff lightly. And this is just going to dilute the shine just a touch, but it has its own little like subtle luminosity to this powder, so it's not going to take it away completely. It's just going to kind of mattify the cheeks slightly, and you can see you have a little bit more of a satin finish to the whole face. For highlight today, I'm going to take the Chanel Metal Peach. I forget, I think this might have been holiday last year, and I'm using the Sonia G Sculpt 3 brush. Just going to apply a little bit. Okay, and just a little bit here. So I'm taking the Chikuhodu KZ08 and I'm going to run it in the highlighter. I'm just going to put a little bit under the brow arch. Just a touch. And then for lips today, we are going to use the Dark Romance Lip Fetish Lip Balm from Pat McGrath. This is the new shade that was released in her latest launch, and it's going to be like a purpley shade. All right, here is a layer of it. I like the color a lot. Let me make it a little darker. I think this is probably as dark as it'll go. And this is the final look. So let's go ahead and go over a few mini reviews. First, I wanted to kind of test how the Coco Dough Moisture and the Coco Dough Aqua Foundation worked mixing them together, because I had heard with the old formula that it creates a really lovely, finish kind of in between when you mix the two of these. And some people who, just didn't have a lot of luck with one or the other actually really enjoyed mixing the two together with the older formula. So I went to test it out. Obviously, I just put it on, so I'm not going to review that now because it's just too soon. But I do like the way that it looks on my skin. And I will be putting up an update video in a few days, and I will have the information on this in a few days. I want to wear it like this a couple times at least before, I say anything. The Chantecaille Le Camouflage Stylo, I've covered this before. I love the actual product inside. I am not a fan of the applicator. I find the click pen, it's very slow to get the product to the surface, and it's also hard to control how much is coming out because it doesn't seem to be like one click equals one pump type thing. So sometimes I have to click it like 10 times to get the product out. Other times 1 or 2 clicks is sufficient, but you never really know exactly how much is going to come out of this. So I'm not a fan of the packaging, but I do really love the actual product inside. So I'm considering decanting this into a little container instead, just because it's kind of a hassle. Gucci brow pencil, I am really enjoying this. I love the finish that it gives. I think it's really interesting. It goes on like a pencil, but it has that powder look to it. It smells like a powder. And, I really like the finish that it gives. I do want to try another shade in this at some point. The shade, I think it works for me, but I think it's just got a little bit of a reddish tint to it that, I guess isn't my favorite. So I think I will try the taupe shade next. But I really like the actual pencil, and then the spoolie is what I consider a substantial spoolie. So I think it's very effective at dispersing the product when you put it on to make it a little bit more natural looking. The Surratt Brow Pomade, I really enjoy this. I've been using this for quite a while now, and it's kind of like a mini toothbrush shape, and it applies, it stays well, it's clear, and it truly does seem to be clear on me, so there's no like white cast to it. Really enjoy this. I believe they're coming out with some tinted versions, but I haven't heard anything in quite a while on that. The Chantecaille La Chrome Luxe Eye Duo in Tibet. I personally love this duo, and I think out of all of the duos they have, this one is the most subdued. You still have sparkle, but it doesn't seem quite as sparkly as some of the other shades appear on the eyes. And obviously they are neutral shades. So, you know, I personally think it's office appropriate. And this deeper brown, it's not quite as shimmery as some of the other shades in the other compacts. So it really can give you a more subdued look, or you can pair the lighter shade on top and get an even more sparkly effect. So I went with a light look today, but I have played around with this one in the past. So you can get it a little bit more sparkly, or you can, you know, kind of have it a little bit more subdued and subtle. So I think it's very versatile. And I like all of the Chrome Luxe duos that I have. I have Piazza San Marco, Grand Canal, and then Tibet. So I love all of them. And I think this one is just the most sophisticated looking out of the three of those. And it's not just because they're neutrals, but I just think that the quantity of shimmer is a little bit more toned down in Tibet than in the other two that I have. The Natasha Denona Chromium Liquid Eyeshadow, this is the shade Scarab, and I will be doing a full review on these. I actually picked up another one of these as well, so I'll show you, some more details of this. This is my first time trying it as a liner though, and I mean, I love this color, and I like it as a liner. Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool as a liner. I like having the color shift. It's easy to work with, in my opinion, and this liquid feels pretty weightless. It's very thin, so it's not feeling, like you have something sitting on your eyes, and yet it's smooth. There's no like chunky particles from all of this shimmer or anything like that. It's smooth. It's thin, but not thin like runny. So it kind of stays put. It does dry quickly, so you want to use one eye at a time. And you can layer this, in my experience, but you want to let, the first layer dry completely before putting on more. And then that'll just make the color a little bit more vibrant, but pretty much this is like a one coat type deal. You're not going to get much more pigmentation than what you get with one coat of this shadow. And yeah, I found it pretty easy to use as eyeliner. I'm just obviously not the most skilled with liquid liners in the first place, but I think it turned out okay. The Guerlain Matte Eyes Mascara in Shade Brown, I am still enjoying this for, an everyday look. It's not going to be voluminous for like a night on the town or anything, but for everyday mascara, I do really enjoy it, and it separates my lashes really well. So this is really like the only mascara that I've used in quite a while where I don't have to go in with my tweezers and eyelash comb. Sometimes I still do because it's habit, but it's not necessary. It's not really doing much because they're already nicely separated with this mascara. And the Chanel blush in number 260 Alazen, I really like this shade, and I think it's, it's like a highlighting blush because of all that sparkle. You don't need an additional highlight with it, but I like the shade. I like how it applies. Chanel blushes in general, they don't really have any flat matte type blushes. Even the ones that are more matte still have like a satin finish to it. However, I feel like this one and the Rose Bronze, have kind of amped that up a little bit more. They have a little bit more sheen than some of the other ones that I have. My most used Chanel blush is probably Rose Ecrin, and that one is just, it's a bit more matte. Let me get that real quick. So here's Rose Ecrin, and I've had this for years. You probably can't even tell how much I've used it, but it's not actually bubbled anymore. So it is definitely a well-loved blush. Let me put that here. I'm gonna put it at the top here also. So with swatching, I don't feel like you can see the sheen on these shadows as much, but this is going to have a much softer satin sheen to it than the Rose Bronze or the Alizen, which both just have like, the sheen's just a little bit more metallic looking on both of those, which, you know, in this case with Alizen, I feel like it's more of a highlighting blush because you've got that sparkle mixed in. And with the Rose Bronze, I feel like it's kind of like a bronzer mixed with blush. So, you know, they both have different purposes for me, in my opinion. Overall, I really like both of the blushes. I just think for me, they are suited more for different occasions. I can actually see myself using Alizen more frequently than Rose Bronze because to me, Rose Bronze really seems more of a beachy, summery shade with that bronzy sheen in there. So I think that's something I'll reach more for during warmer months. Whereas Alizen, I feel like, you know, it's got just the right amount of sparkle and it's still kind of like a neutral looking blush, where it's more illuminating for the rest of the year. So I feel like Alizen is probably going to be used a little, I'll probably use that a little bit more throughout the year than I will Rose Bronze. Moving on to the Chantecaille Talc-Free Loose Powder in Light. And I have used this several times now. I still don't have a fully formed opinion on it, but I can tell you that is a nice powder. It does give me a soft matte finish. I use it typically for a setting powder, and you really only need a little bit, and it really just helps kind of, you know, if you've got something that's a little bit too luminous, it'll mattify it a little bit. So I don't use too much of it at once, but I like it so far, and I just don't have any strong opinions formed one way or the other at this point on this. The Chanel Metal Peach highlight from last year, I don't even know if that's still available, but I really do like that highlight. It's a little bit firm in the pan, but I've used it quite a bit, and I feel like now it's a little bit easier to get product up than it was at the beginning. But, you know, if you use a firmer brush, like this isn't super firm, but it's also not super fluffy. I feel like for me, this is good to get just a light touch. I think it works really well with any of those like peachier blush shades. Excuse me. And last but not least, we have the Pat McGrath Lip Fetish Lip Balm in Dark Romance. And let me swatch that here for you. So this is one coat, and then I'm just going to build it up here at the end here, and that's multiple coats there. And you can see that it is a purple. It's a berry purple. So, you know, it's not going to be straight up purple. There is some, you know, more pink undertones to it, but it's definitely more purple than a lot of the berry lip products that, you know, have come out. So it's, I definitely think it's got more of that purple vibe with the reddish pink undertones to it. I love it. I love this color. I like it more subdued. You can actually get this even lighter if you want, you know, just dab it on, put a clear gloss on. You've got a really lightly pigmented berry lip. And I like how this is a little bit different than other berry shades that have come out. Usually these berry shades have a little bit more red and pink to them than this one does. This is definitely a bit more purple. I think it is fantastic for the fall, and it's a little bit different than everything else that's out there, which is what I like about it. If you're not familiar with the Pat McGrath Lip Fetish formula, it's got a thick, balmy texture. So it's a thicker balm. It's not going to be thin. It's comfortable on the lips. And if you have tried any of the Divinal lip shines, they are very different from this, in my opinion. They both have a balmy texture to them, but the Divinal lip shines have, it's more of a like a hybrid formula. So you can feel a little bit more of like a lip oil mixed in there. So there's more slip to it, and it feels, even though it's thick, because of that slip, it feels a little thinner. Does that make sense? So it's technically not thinner in consistency, but it feels a little thinner just because there's more slip on your lips, whereas this is going to be thicker. I don't know if it's going to be more hydrating than the lip shines. I haven't tested that yet. However, I can tell you that these lip balms in general for me, you know, they don't dry out my lips. They don't add additional moisture either, with other shades at least. And I have tested them in the past, And, you know, I've worn them all day and all night and stuff. I did one of my lip balm battles with one of these, and the ones that do not have the glitter in, they leave my lips in pretty much the same condition which they started, maybe slightly better, but nothing significant. So I find them to be a nice balm to keep hydration in, but not really to heal any damage you might have to your lips. In summation, this is a win for me. I absolutely love the color, and I like having the balm in these new shapes compared to the, let's see here. Yeah, this is the blow up from before with the lipstick shape. I like both shapes, but I don't know. This is just a little bit nicer. Now, let me just show you here this new balm in Dark Romance. This is number 630. It's 3 grams. And then this here is the lip balm in the old design. This is the shade Blow Up 521, and this is 3.5 grams. So you can see that it's a little bit smaller, it's a little bit shorter. It's also thinner in diameter. So you are getting more product with the older version than the newer version. And I'm pretty sure all of the older ones are going over to this packaging. So just a heads up that the older ones do give you more product. So if you can still pick up some of those, some of the other colors you're interested in, you might want to do that because the newer packaging, I believe the prices are the same, but you're getting less product. And last thing I just wanted to mention was the Gucci powder. And I still like this powder. I haven't been using it as much as I did when I first got it. You know, it does have that perfume scent. It doesn't really bother me. You know, once I have it on, it dissipates. It does have a nice finish, but I have just been, I reach mostly for this Sisley powder in number 1, Rosy. That's the new Phyto Poudre Compact, or one of my other powders. But honestly, this is the one I've been using the most. And it's kind of similar in what it looks like on the skin than the Gucci. The Gucci has a little bit more luminosity. It's kind of, there's no real sparkle in it or anything like that, but there is a subtle luminosity to it. And I feel like the Sisley also has a little bit of that, but it's not as much. It's definitely more matte than this one is on the skin, but it doesn't make your skin look dry. Honestly, it's kind of just like an invisible matte filter with some blurring effects and so forth. So this shade is truly translucent on me, and they have, I think 3 shades that are meant to be translucent for different skin tones, and then they have another shade that's a bronzer. So the Gucci, while I like it and I love the packaging, you know, I haven't been reaching for it as much as I used to, but I do still like it. So it's a like, but it has been surpassed. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for getting ready with me today. I hope these little mini reviews here at the end were helpful. I will have some additional product updates coming up soon in another video, so stay tuned for those in the next few days. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and share it with your friends. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe and healthy, and I will see you soon. Thanks.